Just because it isn't crack doesn't mean that gambling is not as addictive. So if you or anybody you know is gambling like Prinky, please seek help. Hey y'all, it's your captain for all things creative, and I'm coming today with this Love and Hip Hop Miami season 5 episode 1 recap, and kind of not sure how this is gonna go, so please bear with me. I am reviewing Roni with the Lean, so check that out on Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Also on this channel. So I was hesitant to add another show because things are about to get very hectic for me in the fall, but I definitely was moved to chorus by a couple of the cast members and issues that are being discussed this season. And I really think there are a lot of teachable moments in this episode. And going forward, we'll see, how the numbers are. But let's talk about this episode since there's a lot in it. So we start off with just a short recap, and then I'll give kind of my awards and takeaways and nuggets of wisdom that I found, in the episode. So, in terms of the recap of what happened, we have Trick Daddy in the beginning getting new teeth, and oh my gosh, I needed a trigger warning here because he's had his goals for so long that they're basically pulling out, I guess, rotten teeth. I was eating a sandwich trying to watch this and I couldn't eat it. So shout out to Trick for, improving his oral health. Hopefully, he continues to take care of himself because we've seen in past season he's had health issues, and you know what they say, health is wealth. So it's a good thing that he's valuing his body over vanity. And I think everybody should take steps, to live longer, be healthier. It's always a good thing. Unless you see Safari, I guess he's gonna meet up with Trick and they're talking about that Mara rumors. He's lying through his teeth and Trick Dad just falls asleep on him. Next, we see Sukihana. She's doing very well. She has a new song out called Casamigos, and she's trying to elevate from, her past ratchet era. And I actually really like this because it's never too late to change. We'll talk about it a little bit more. And I know she's had some controversies in the media lately that caused a lot of women to rally around her because there was some rapper, I think YK Osiris, who kissed her forcefully in public, and then she made a post about, not wanting, to keep going through all these negative experiences in the industry. And then there was also some reports circulating that she had been harassed on the Real Housewives of Atlanta Candy Burris' show Candy Coated Nights by some creepy co-host on there. And even though she has kind of these scandals where they talk about, her being walked by her hair. And of course, these viral songs like Eating, she's definitely someone who people still want to protect. And I like this era that we're in where people can be, more free, more creative, especially artists, but still not be judged or misunderstood to the point that they won't get protection when they need it. It used to be the case of if you dressed a certain way, if you spoke a certain way, if you rapped about certain things like Sukihana does, people would assume, that you want that kind of sexual attention from men all the time. And Sukihana definitely is somebody that is kind of a sex symbol. She has OnlyFans that they're talking about on the show and all these kinds of things. That doesn't mean that people can have access to her without consent. And that's why, women and people have been rallying around her. And I'm glad that, she's trying to move away from her wretched era. So shout out to Sukihana. The next person we see, I guess, is Trina screening her Tiny Desk concert. And I love the Tiny Desk series. I'm a big music lover. I think the top ones that I've seen so far definitely Usher, Summer Walker. I love R&B, obviously. Those are probably like my top two. Another one that I really liked was the Chloe and Halle one. Jasmine Sullivan. Oh my gosh, that was a wonderful Tiny Desk concert that she had. And then what would be my final one? The top five. Mm, I guess Post Malone was the last one that I looked at, and I actually do like Post Malone, but that's neither here nor there. So yes, shout out to Trina for getting her flowers, getting her little Tiny Desk moment. Next, we see Amara La Negra, and she talks about not being engaged to the father of her twins anymore. And then we see Bobby Lights. I'm just going through this quickly so we can get to the wisdom and the teaching moments. Bobby Lights, he is so funny. I usually like his energy on the show. Um, I had seen him on Zeus with the conversation that he had with Roland Ray, which was really funny, but I had to delete Zeus because that network is very, very much what's wrong with society. I literally had bad dreams about that new season of Bad Boys with that child actor who talked about eating ramen noodles out of toilet bowl in prison. Oh, it's the same reason I stopped watching horror films. Certain things you can't put in your spirit. And anytime I start to have bad dreams or get disturbed, I just know I can't watch stuff anymore. So I know that Bobby Lights did have a show with Roland Ray on Zeus. I didn't see that show because, like I said, I deleted Zeus, but I did see that episode, the conversation with him and Roland Ray. And even though Roland Ray, kept trying to take a lot of jabs and read Bobby Lights, and Bobby Lights, kind of got into it with Roland Ray a little bit too. He was the one that was focused the most on reconciliation. He was being sweet and uplifting to Roland Ray, and that's kind of when I don't want to say fell in love with Bobby Lights, but I appreciated him even more from that conversation show. But in this episode, he kind of annoyed me a little bit, but we'll talk about that more later. Next, we see Miami Tip. She used to manage Sukihana, but she had to give up, and I don't know if they're gonna talk about it more. But what Miami Tip, I guess, is famous for is she had a very horrible accident and she had to have all these surgeries, and she's a survivor in a lot of ways. So it was good to see her still doing well. And Bobby Lights basically explaining how he's skeptical of the new Sukihana, and he also grills Amara La Negra about the relationship rumors with Safari. Next, we see Ray J, and I have seen Ray J from since he was dancing in his older sister Brandy's music video, I Want to Be Down. I appreciate his savvy with his tech business, Raycon. He's very much, I think, mover and a shaker. He knows how to capitalize on like pop culture moments, and he is making a lot of money, but apparently Princess, or Prinky as he called her, is spending it really fast with her gambling problem, which is in the form of playing poker. So we'll talk about that a little more later. But my heart went out to him even more this episode because he's dealing with addiction, and I know a lot of people, who have dealt with both behavioral types of addiction and also substance abuse. So um, it's a big issue in our society, and I'm also, a case actee, so it's good teaching moment that we'll talk about more. The next person that we see again is Trick, and he's making his first appearance without his gold front teeth in Las Vegas. And they show him performing I'm a Thug. And it took me back to the 2000s instantly. Trick has a huge legacy. I think my favorite Trick Daddy songs from back in the day when, we used to listen to that like school would be In the Wind with CeeLo. It has a lot of Trick Love the Kids. Also that song Sugar that has Ludacris and CeeLo again, but it's the Ludacris part that's like very good. And actually my dance troupe had a dance to that song. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Fusion. And of course, You Know Nan with Trina's very classic. So yeah. I'm glad that they showed him performing, because part of the problem with a lot of these love and hip hop franchises, like it's not as much about the hip hop and the music, but Miami kind of has kept it alive a little more. People like Sukihana, Trick Daddy, Trina, even Bobby, tried to rap and things like that. But I think a reason why a lot of people stopped watching the franchise is because it got to be about a lot of drama, not as much about the music or like compelling stories. But I think this season they got it right. There's enough people who's actually making music and hip hop, and enough people with actually compelling stories that can connect to a lot of people. And I definitely think that, especially with schools being in the state that there are, we have to try to find teaching moments in a lot of different ways. And so if people are consuming the pop culture, why not use it, to help teaching it life lessons out of. So that's like my philosophy in a nutshell. But next, Amara and Safari finally admit near near the end of the episode, rather, that they are together all along, which has been all over the internet. And I heard about it for the first time when Spice had that viral airport rant where she's kind of cussing out Erica Mena for just being upset about Safari and Amara. And Spice basically rightfully says that actually Erica took Safari from her other friend, so why is she surprised that, she's losing him the same way she got him, and that is another life lesson. A lot of times you lose people the same way you get them, so don't sow bad seeds, don't do things that you don't want done unto you to other people. Basically, the golden rule will always be a good thing to abide by, because when that karma hits you, whew, you do not want to be on the back end of that. So basically, Safari has so many famous and dramatic S's, like we said, including Erica Mena and even Nicki Minaj, who we all know is a great rapper. Um, I think her most recent hit is that Barbie movie song, but she has a lot of better songs. But Safari is one of her exes, so she and many people are connected to Safari. So Amara, I don't think is listening to her other friends' advice very well about staying away from him, because he has a very very sordid past with a lot of dramatic exes. So she likes it. I love it. It's her choice. Next we have Ray J and Princess, and they have a scene where Princess is showing that she may have a gambling addiction. Ray J at first kind of just focuses on his jealousy, and kind of like the men playing poker around Princess, but I didn't hear him promote her dealing with the addiction side of the gambling because apparently she's been playing poker for hours and hours every day. She's lost something like $1.2 million of their money. Even though he tries to stop her, she said she wants to play for 6 or 7 more hours. And even though she only started 5 months ago, we know how quickly addiction and even behavioral addictions, like gambling can destroy people's lives and put people in a lot of debt. And even though it's not a substance like crack, there are a lot of psychological issues, that are connected to gambling and a lot of just social issues, especially if you have a family and kids that are very heavily affected by gambling and playing poker like Prinky is. So we'll talk about that more a little later. Next, we see Amara at the birthday party. Looks like it's kind of like a European style celebration. She's got, the wigs and the dancers doing those like Bridgerton looking dances. So I don't know if it was Bridgerton themed or if it was, Victorian era themed. Whatever it is, she wants to use this party to come out to the world about her relationship with Safari. We see Shay or Bucky. Every time I see her, I think of Flavor of Love. But Shay um, also is in this party, and she talks about how the father to her children named Fabo, I guess, has moved back with her, wants to get married. And then her uh, feeling is that Amara is not really with Safari, but they're all about to be surprised when Safari comes in, takes the mic from Amara, and then gifts her babies some Rolexes, which everybody heard about on social media who kind of follows, reality shows. And we see Shay literally posting about it, at the party, and I think they played her post. And this is a sore spot, I guess, for Erica Mena because according to her, Safari has not, treated their own kids with gifts like this. So he's showing some favoritism to Tamara. I don't know if it's love bombing right now, but this is something that can have an effect on all the kids involved and obviously the exes and Amara herself. So after this, we see Princess and Ray J. And again, she's not taking care of herself like she used to. She's basically in a hat and a beige and black tracksuit that's so frumpy looking. She ain't got no makeup on. She not wanting to stop playing poker, even though Ray J's is trying to feed her. She don't even want to stop to eat. But her excuse is that she wants to play in the World Series. Mind you, she's only started playing poker 5 months ago, and she thinks she could get to a World Series playing level. But again, it seems like she's having a behavioral addiction and she's using training for the World Series, as an excuse to Ray J. So Ray J tries to make a compromise and says, okay, let this World Series be your last tournament, and then let's leave Vegas, go back to Miami, go back to our relationship because the gambling is taking over. And Prinky says, no, she's not going. She's not going back to Miami. And it does seem like this poker playing is a problem that might be a problem to their relationship for real because they've broken up and stuff before, but I've never seen them like this. Sometimes I don't know if what they're doing is real or fake for the TV, but again, this is a good teacher moment because a lot of people don't take behavioral addictions as seriously, and the way they're portraying it right now does seem like Princess has a problem. So next, we see Sukihana with her friends at the club debuting Casamigos. Now the auto tune is strong on this song, but again, she's trying to elevate and be classier, and I love that for her. But then Bobby Lights is trying to bring her down and talking about, how she should stay ratchet. He likes her ratchet. And they just start arguing. And literally, I just kind of felt like Mama Joyce in Hospital Atlanta when Ridiculous popped out. I just wanted to leave Earth when they were yelling about OnlyFans. And I guess Sukihana called Bobby a swamp possum, which I never heard before. All these cusses, so I kind of mentally checked out. But the episode basically ends with them taking it outside a little bit and just writing each other off till Bobby walks off. So let's get into the takeaways and awards of the episode. So in spite of her fighting with Bobby Lights, I think the queen of the episode is Sukiyama. And again, I love the fact that she's trying to grow and change. And she's showing it's never too late to grow and change. I think some people, especially if they get a reputation for being something, they hold on to it, or they let people label them and put them in a box. But for her, she wants to get out of the ratchet box. She wants to get out of, you know, the patterns that have led her to, these kind of situations where she's being judged, like how they showed when she was doing her press tour, all these radio hosts like Charlemagne and, you know, the Breakfast Club people, they're telling her, that she's basically just going to be known as Ratchet forever. And apparently she had gone to Africa, and it's this trip to the motherland that has prompted her to change. And so it also shows, the importance of traveling for growth, because once you see that the world is bigger than you and you don't have to be confined by your neighborhood or, the people that might have told you who you are, put you in a box, it does change your perspective. And I just hope Sukihana just fully comes into her own as a child of God, as someone who is fearfully and wonderfully made and just can do all things. And for anybody else that wants to change, it's never too late. No matter what you did, just keep on growing and evolving, because that's something that's constant in life is change. So whoever tells she can't change is foolish, because we're going to change anyway. We're going to get old. We're going to get wrinkled. She can't be doing OnlyFans forever. I'm glad that she's finally made the decision to be caught up in her real destiny, which is a woman who can evolve and change and grow like we're all meant to do. So the next uh, person that gets the Heart Award, who my heart went out to, obviously, is Ray J, because addiction is a very real problem, especially in our country. I hope he can encourage Princess to get help and also stay strong for his kids and family, since I guess on one level he does have to materially, make back the money that she has just gambled away, but also, um, you know, gambling is one of those behavioral addictions that are very sneaky, and a lot of people don't understand it. So I'm just gonna run through some of like the myths and the facts related to gambling, and this is taken from Chris Lobsinger's Problem Gambling pages. So one myth about gambling is that you have to gamble every day to be a problem gambler. Prinky does seem like she is gambling every day, but really a problem gambler may gamble frequently or not. So if a person gambling causes psychological, financial, emotional, marital, legal, or other difficulties for themselves, the people are around them, then they have a gambling problem. So even if she wasn't gambling that much, the fact that it's causing problems with people around her means that it is a problem. And that was my my grandfather clock was providing the background music for that list. Next myth, it says problem gamblers gamble at any opportunity. on any form of gambling. But most problem gamblers have a favorite form of gambling that causes them problems. So for Prinky or Princess, it's obviously this poker thing, right? So again, she's not betting at the racetrack or like that guy Uncut Gems that's betting on the games and all these different things. But her choice of doing this poker so much, so many hours a day, to the detriment of her marriage, losing 1.2 billions of dollars, it's a problem, right? The next myth, problem gambling is not really a problem if the gambler can afford it, right? Obviously, Ray J makes a lot of money, but problems caused by excessive gambling are not just financial. If a person's gambling is interfering with their ability to act in accordance with their values, then there's a problem. For example, too much time spent on gambling means less time to spend with family, friends, and others. It can lead to relationship breakdown and loss of important friendships. So they gotta watch this, and it's very serious. I know it's not crack, but please, y'all, if you know people with behavioral addictions like gambling, or if you yourself struggle with it, seek help. Next myth, problem gamblers are irresponsible people. That's not true. Many problem gamblers hold or have held responsible community positions, and people with a long history of responsible behavior are vulnerable to developing a gambling problem. So if a person is having a problem gambling episode, then that person is unable to control their gambling. And in this compromised state, their actions look like irresponsible behavior. So again, the not eating, the wearing the frumpy sweat clothes, not taking care of herself, not doing the makeup. She's clearly in this gambling episode spiral in Vegas with this poker tournament coming up. But she can still be a good mother and all those other things when she, is out of this spiral. But right now, she does seem to be spiraling. Another myth says children are not affected by problem gambling, but the fact is, survey shows that about 10 to 15% of American and Canadian youth have experienced gambling related problems, and 1 to 6% of these individuals may satisfy diagnostic criteria for pathological gambling. Additionally, children of problem gamblers have been shown to have a higher risk of developing health threatening behavior. So, this includes alcohol and drug use, problem gambling, eating disorders, depression, and suicide. So, as a couple that has kids, Ray J's totally right in trying to get Princess out of this spiral and try to help her through it. And what's another one? Um, let's do just one more. It says, if a problem gambler builds up debt, the important thing to do is to help them get out of financial problems as soon as possible. But the facts is that quick fix solutions are often attractive to everyone involved and may appear to be the right thing to do. However, bailing the gambler out of debt may actually make matters worse by enabling the gambling problem to continue. So, even though they're rich, right? And Pricky's not in debt right now. It seems like Erady's not in debt right now. If for most working class people, you do get into debt. Um, that's not the main goal. That's a symptom of the problem, but you want to get to the root of the problem. You got to get this person help. Deal with the behavior first, and then we'll work on the debts later. But really, because problem gambling is such a hidden addiction, very easy to not notice or hide, doesn't have that many recognizable symptoms, unlike alcohol and drug use. And many problem gamblers themselves don't recognize that they have a problem. So, with the self denial, like you see Prinky's doing, and then all the other ways that it compromises, your relationships and finances, Ray J's totally right in trying to get Prinky to stop. And typically, it's males that usually start earlier with the gambling, and it starts in adolescence. But Prinky obviously needs to, get this problem checked. And it can be um, a serious thing for their marriage. I know they've broken up before, but like this could be like the thing that causes them to divorce for good. And for Pinky herself, gambling can sometimes be associated with higher frequency of, psychological disorders. So she really gotta get help, get therapy, and Ray J, my heart goes out to you for being strong for Princess and your family, but also, trying to make the right move to get out of the situation where all the triggers in Vegas are. The person who was the naughty person this episode is definitely Safari, especially if he's playing with Amara and the kids. He really needs to stop because as a new father, for what Erica Man is saying is true. Those things that he's doing with showing favoritism to, his new family versus his old family, that can have a bad effect on, you know, one, his relationship with his own children, but then also the relationship with his co-parent, Erica. So as parents, you always got to be careful not to, show favorites, not to make problems when they don't have to be. So if there's a way for him to treat everybody fairly and respectfully, that would be nice. But Safari does not have the best track record, and even the fact that he used the kid's birthday party, to come out with their relationship, and then the Rolexes, I guess, is it's a good birthday gift. Very expensive birthday gift, but just the fact that they took away from the kid's birthday to put the spotlight on their relationship does show this kind of attention seeking pattern that might not be as good. So I hope Safari breaks out of this and that Amara and him be careful before they scar them children. And the person who's in timeout is Bobby Lights. Oh my gosh. I don't like dream crushers. I don't like people that, try to keep people in boxes and ruts. And that's exactly what Bobby Lights was doing by telling Sukiya that she should just stay ratchet and she shouldn't try to elevate and change. Don't listen to people like that. They say misery love company. I think because he is stuck in whatever his rut is with his OnlyFans life, he wants Sukihana to be doing the same thing. But don't let anybody take you away from your destiny and from doing better because misery love company. Bobby's probably fine with the way he is right now. But like we said, change is the only thing that's constant. They're all going to get older. They're all going to, want to have a legacy that they're proud of. And for now, he's doing these things, but who knows how he feels at night? Who knows how he's going to feel about it when he's older? He has to look back at all the videos. And Sukihana is thinking ahead. Like she said she's 30 steps ahead of everybody. And I'm very glad that she's thinking about the legacy that she wants to leave and is elevating. And Bobby, you in timeout for trying to drag her down and keep her from evolving. So predictions, I don't know what's gonna happen with this cast or even these reviews. We'll see how the numbers are and the issues that come up. But again, there's definitely gonna be more going on with Trina. There's gonna be more going on with Sukihana. She tried to elevate. It looked like she might be having a fight with Mama D, which I don't know what that is. And then Bucky or Shay's gonna confront Amar about everything. So gonna be a lot of entertaining things. Like I said, once the semester starts back up again, it's gonna get busy for me. But it's very important to identify if you have problems like what you see on the show, get help. And remember, you are the master of your fate and you are the captain of your soul. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And then hopefully, we'll do more of these videos. All right, y'all. Bye.